by the Transport Minister and Deputy Premier Rita Sapiotti and WA Labor candidate for Landsdale, Dan Pastorelli. I want to thank Paul and Jody for having us and the team for having us here today. Look, back in 2017, WA Labor said that we would bring railcar manufacturing back to WA. It was opposed by the Libs. They mocked the policy and they said it couldn't be done. But look where we are. Now in Western Australia, WA is making its own WA-made Metronet trains every day. And this is where you see firsthand the real benefit of local manufacturing. Here in Wangara, Unique Metals manufacture the electrical cables, cabinets, cable trays and other stainless steel parts that goes into a Metronet train. It's trucked from here down to Bellevue, and at Bellevue, Unique Metals also provide welding services as part of that production facility to make our C-Series trains. And Unique Metals are just one of 15 businesses, all who are providing inputs into the manufacturing of our local trains, providing great quality jobs right across the state as part of our commitment to manufacture our rail cars here in WA. Quality local manufacturing jobs in Western Australia. And that is what our Made in WA plan is all about. It's about making stuff here, bringing manufacturing back to the heart of the Western Australian economy. Since 2017, we've overseen the creation of more than 343,000 jobs. And our vision is for our economy to take the state forward and create more jobs, the jobs of the future. And we've taken WA from the weakest economy in the country to now the strongest. And we're not stopping there. With our Made in WA plan, we'll bring manufacturing back to the heart of our economy. We'll locally manufacture our trains, our ferries, our buses, our batteries, wind turbines, poles and wires as part of our decarbonisation and clean energy transition. And under WA Labor, we'll keep WA's economy the strongest in the nation and keep Western Australians in the quality jobs of the future. By keeping the economy strong and managing the state's finances, we can continue to invest in what matters. And already in this election campaign, we have committed to more than $1 billion in new cost of living measures. That includes another WA student assistance payment, cheaper public transport, expanding free kindy, the nation's most generous household battery subsidies. We'll build more houses and help more West Aussies get a roof over their head. We're by slashing stamp duty, delivering our new Keystart shared equity loan scheme, and fast-tracking the build-to-rent projects and growing our construction workforce through more free TAFE courses. We'll invest in our world-class healthcare system with major upgrades at Royal Perth Hospital, Midland Hospital, Albany Hospital, and of course we'll take the pressure off our hospitals by expanding our aged care sector by another 500 beds. In times of global uncertainty, WA Labor needs experienced leadership. It needs a steady hand at the wheel, and only WA Labor can provide that for the state. Throughout this campaign, the Liberal Party have shown that they're not up to the job of being in government in Western Australia. They are chaotic, they are dysfunctional, they're fighting amongst themselves, and they're fighting with the Nationals. And if they're fighting with each other, they're not fighting for you, they're not fighting for Western Australia. Only WA Labor has the experience and the plan to take WA forward, and only WA Labor will do what's right for WA. I now hand you over to the Transport Minister and Deputy Premier.
Thank you very much, Premier. As the Premier outlined, in 2017 we took a key commitment to the people, and that was to bring back rail manufacturing in this state. It had been abandoned by the previous government. For 30 years, the Midland Rail workshops had been shut. So it was a bold plan to restart rail manufacturing in the state. And of course, we've achieved that. And the big part of our plan is not only what's happening out at Bellevue, but the fact that local manufacturers, like here at Unique Metals, are playing their part to support the components for our locally made trains. What we're seeing is over 15 small businesses or medium-sized businesses across the state contributing to our locally made rail cars. And it's these types of projects, it's these types of local manufacturing that support businesses like this. Now I've just been talking to Jody and Paul, and the success here means their eastern state presence will now see them feeding into the trains they're building in Melbourne. So what we're doing is making sure our Western Australian businesses are assisted to grow by supporting them through our railcar manufacturing program. Again, talking to Paul and Jody, they're contributing to our Oak Street and Cannington Metronet stations, to the Armidale Metronet station, to the Volgren bus facility, also into some of our major social housing complexes. They're also currently fabricating components for Western Power. But one of the things we were just talking about, our commitment to make more of our Western Power transmission towers and lines in WA means there's going to be more jobs and opportunities for companies like this in the future. So this isn't easy. It's hard to restart manufacturing. It's hard to make sure the bigger companies get a understanding of the capability of Western Australian manufacturing. But what we've seen across the state is a big investment in technology, world-class modern manufacturing. And what we're wanting to do is make sure we continue to support companies who have invested here in this state to grow their businesses and employ Western Australians. We also talked about AUKUS, about the huge opportunities for local manufacturing. So, working together, there's an optimistic future for manufacturing in this state, making sure as a government we do our part by helping make sure we do more in WA, that we support local businesses, and making sure that our major mining companies do that too. So this is another, I suppose, insight into the success of our manufacturing of local trains. We want to expand it with the Made in WA plan, and we're very much keen to continue the momentum we've created to create jobs, keep our economy very strong, and also keep the finances very strong. Any questions on this?
The electrical, or the WA branch of the electrical trade union is actually walking off the job at the Bellevue facility late this morning. Are you concerned that's going to lead to cost blowouts because of the creative characters?
This is the normal types of discussions that the workforce and companies have. That's a discussion and a disagreement between Alstom and the union. I'll let that play out.
The company is franchised. Is it a bit of a lie to say made in WA if the profits are going offshore?
Absolutely not. I mean, look, bringing back railcar manufacturing in WA was a massive task. And you basically need an international train manufacturer to set up in this state. And that's what's happened. So we went out to the market. We created a program of work. And this stuff is sophisticated. It's happening around the world. And we made sure that we had someone with a strong reputation in rail manufacturing set up in WA. So they're set up in WA. It's a success story of the state, and we should be proud of the fact that we've got our rail cars here. I know the community is very proud. They can't believe that we achieved it. We had a lot of criticism, people saying it couldn't be done. And the fact is, working really hard and tapping in to the incredible work being done in our industrial estates. We drive past them, but when you actually go into the workshops and you meet the people, you see their technology, you see the equipment, you're blown away by what we can do in the state.
Why did you knock back reflection synergy for $1 billion last September?
As part of any budget process, we accept a number of proposals and we reject others. And in relation to synergy, I think it was in relation to an operating subsidy. We continue to support our GTEs, in particular synergy, to make sure that they can operate and make sure we can keep our electricity prices affordable.
Does that mean bills could go up if that's not being subsidised?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rita. Any other questions?
The news poll and the Demos poll this morning both had been winning very comfortably. Does it give you confidence in the last 24 hours of the campaign?
Well, look, we've worked hard in this campaign. We've made sure that we've had a comprehensive package of policies and a plan to put to the people of Western Australia, continuing to grow our cost of living measures, growing our house supply with faster homes and more affordable homes, and of course a massive investment in our healthcare system. And we have had that conversation with the people of Western Australia every stage of this campaign. We are staying humble, we are being respectful of the WA electorate. We are simply having a conversation about our plans if we are fortunate enough to receive the endorsement of the Western Australian people tomorrow.
Two polls though within a smidge of each other. You accept now that you will win the election, you'll be the Premier.
Well, look, if we win the election, yes, I will be the Premier. I will be the Premier, right? Yeah.
But the point of that is two polls say that you will do that.
Yeah.
Instead of being humble, you accept that will be the result and that those numbers reflected in those polls will come true.
Well, obviously, you always want a good poll, not a bad poll. But the fact of the matter is tomorrow is the only poll which counts. And that is the poll which is conducted by the people of Western Australia. And if we are fortunate enough to form government, we'll be back on the job first thing Sunday morning to make sure that we deliver great, strong government and leadership for the people of WA. And look, and in these times of uncertainty, leadership is what counts, right? A steady hand at the wheel, experienced leadership, leadership which has taken this economy from the weakest in the country to now the strongest, with the equal lowest unemployment rate of any state in Australia. We want to keep Western Australia being a great place to live, and the policies that we've put forward are about continuing to make sure that we can take this state forward. Now, sorry, I didn't really answer your question, so I'll try again.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. But look, we're obviously pleased that our hard work is starting to be recognised, and if these polls are an indication of the outcome on Saturday, we'll be delighted. But we're not taking anything for granted, and we'll be campaigning right up to 6 p.m. tomorrow night.
Does that show that the election's pretty much unlosable from this position now?
Every election is a choice. It's a choice. And that is why we have elections, and we respect the democratic process, and we respect the people of Western Australia, which is the reason why we have been so honest, transparent, and have put such a comprehensive package so that they can make the choice. The choice between a WA Labor government, which has taken this economy from the weakest in the nation to now the strongest in the nation, overseeing the creation of 343,000 jobs and plans to create jobs of the future. So not only jobs for people today and their family today, but great quality jobs for their kids as well. Or the Liberals, a dysfunctional and chaotic group which are fighting amongst themselves, fighting with the Nationals, and if they're fighting with each other, they're not fighting for you, they're not fighting for WA.
Even the polling for Bill Shorten.
So I'll take Connor first.
Even polling for Bill Shorten, no, they got that massively wrong. If these polls were wrong, that would be history making, wouldn't it?
Oh, well, look, and that's why, we take every poll with a grain of salt. What we do is pay attention to the poll which matters, and that is the poll being conducted by the people of Western Australia. We have been respectfully and diligently campaigning, talking about our plans and our comprehensive policies for taking this state forward. And I very much look forward to continuing to do that right up until 6 p.m. tomorrow night. Dylan?
Does your presence in the regions this week show that Labor is particularly concerned about losing some of the seats it holds?
Not at all, but we are concerned about losing any seat, and we want to make every seat a winner. We are doing everything we can right up until 6 p.m. tomorrow night. And I've been campaigning in the metropolitan area. I've been campaigning the length and breadth of this great state, and we'll continue to do so right up until 6 p.m. tomorrow night.
Well, what do you say to those regional voters who feel like they've been particularly hard done by this Labor government on health, on logging, on fishing? What's your message to those regional voters in particular?
We govern for all Western Australians, and our strong economic policies and leadership has created jobs right across this vast state. We have brought more cost of living measures, particularly targeted at regional Western Australia, and of course we are focused on manufacturing, which will be a major beneficiary for regional Western Australians. Our strategic industrial areas will be driving our Made in WA plan, bringing manufacturing back to the heart of our economy. In Budari outside Port Hedland, Maitland outside Karratha, Oakajee outside Geraldton, the industrial areas around Kalgoorlie, Kemerton and Picton and Coolangatta in the southwest. All important opportunities to bring manufacturing and jobs back to Western Australia. And of course, we continue to invest in things which make a difference to people who live in regional WA. A massive investment in our estates highway network. Over 10,000 kilometres of safety measures to make our roads safer. And let's look at health when it comes to regional WA. $188 million rebuild of Geraldton Hospital happening now. $450 million rebuild of Bunbury Hospital happening now. And in this election, we have committed to doubling the number of inpatient beds at Albany Hospital. We have announced the single biggest uplift in the patient assistance travel scheme in decades, which will be to the benefit of regional Western Australians. WA Labor has more regional members of Parliament than all the other political parties combined. The reason for that is because we focus on the things that matter to people in regional WA.
What does the next 24 hours hold for you? And should we read into the fact that you're holding your last press conference of the campaign in Daniel Pastorelli's seat? Should he be worried?
Look, we know Daniel's run a great campaign here in Lansdale, and if he's successful tomorrow, he'll make a great member of my WA Labor team. We need strong voices in our WA Labor team. That's why we're saying to everyone, your local member of Parliament, your WA Labor candidate is embedded in your community, understands what's important to your community, and will effectively represent your community in the WA Labor team. So back Daniel Pastorelli. Vote 1 Daniel Pastorelli on the 8th of March. Now, coming back to the original question.
It was a two-part question.
Yeah.
What does the next 24 hours hold for you?
Well, we'll continue to move around the community over the next 24 hours, visiting polling booths, talking to people about our plan for WA, our plan to keep the economy the strongest in the nation, more cost of living relief, more homes, faster and more affordable, and a massive investment in our world-class healthcare system. Sorry, Jeff.
You hold the principle that it's good for democracy to have a viable and effective opposition, which would mean they would have to win a bunch of seats. I'm not saying that we hope they would win it, but it is good for democracy if they do win some seats off.
Look, democracy and the effectiveness of our parliamentary system isn't just a question of numbers. It's a question of working hard. And the Liberals over the last 8 years haven't demonstrated the right to ask for the votes of the West Australian people. We thought that they would have come up with a campaign that had a plan for how they're going to address economic development in WA, how they're going to continue to grow jobs in WA. And they've come up with nothing. What they've done is critiqued our policies, but of themselves they've brought together a ragtag group of policy initiatives which don't represent a plan for the state. They can't take the state forward, so don't risk your vote on the Liberals. And the Liberals, what have the Liberals done to deserve your vote? They haven't worked hard enough, they haven't come up with the policies, and look, quite frankly, they've pre-selected some of the strangest people I've ever seen in WA political history.
James Hayward back in front of courts today as well. Is there an avenue, if he's cleared, is there an avenue for him to return to Parliament?
Well, firstly, let me just say it's before the court, so I won't make comment before any judgment is issued. But James Hayward has been dismissed from the WA Parliament. I don't believe that there's a mechanism for him to be able to come back, but that's a matter for the Legislative Council. Sorry, no, we might go over here just to share about.
Fair enough.
What are you most nervous about for tomorrow?
Oh, look, what I'm nervous about is obviously when you go to apply for your job or when you get a job appraisal, you're always nervous, right? You go to see your boss, and in my case, the bosses are the people of Western Australia. And you say to them, "This is what I've done, in the past 8 years in government as part of the WA Labor team, and this is my record, and this is what we want to do for the next 4 years." And you hope that appraisal goes well, and that you get a tick of approval. And so, obviously, I'm nervous about any election, but we've run a hard campaign, a strong campaign, and a campaign which has put our plan about how we'll take the state forward.
What do you think to the What do you read into the fact that Peter Dutton hasn't come to WA during the campaign?
I thought it was unusual. Obviously, I was very able to welcome and enjoyed the two visits that we had from the Prime Minister, and I'm sorry that he couldn't be here towards the end of this week, but we understand the reasons. He's obviously highly focused on the situation in Queensland at the moment. But the fact that the Liberals were afraid for Peter Dutton to come to WA during the election campaign, I think speaks volumes. It speaks volumes and shows that Peter Dutton is a drag on the Liberal vote. Dylan.
When you've been out and about talking to voters, especially young voters, have you noticed that there has been a higher level of disengagement from politics? Are there people saying, we're not sure who you are, or we're more interested in federal or international politics?
Oh, look, any challenge for a political party in the modern media landscape is how do you access people who do not take their information or their opinions from mainstream media. They're not watching the 6 o'clock news, they're not listening to the radio. They are basically looking at social media and different platforms in social media. So the challenge for any political party is to find a way to access and speak with those communities, and we've worked hard around that. But it is a challenge in a really complex media landscape today to be able to have those conversations everywhere. But we've been working hard, and through great WA Labor candidates like Daniel Pastorelli, who's been on the doorsteps, on the phones, talking to people in the street, and that fundamentally is the best way to campaign, is to have these conversations personally. We've had over 200,000 doors knocked by my WA Labor team in 2025, so since the beginning of the formal campaign. And it's that hard work, it's that face-to-face contact, and it's those sincere conversations that you have face-to-face, which I think make all the difference.
Have you noticed, though, that disengagement has increased? I mean, you've been in politics for a long time.
Yeah. No, look, look, I don't think they're disengaged from the issues which concern them, but actually finding that forum in which to have that conversation is becoming increasingly difficult as people take their media and their information and their opinions from a much wider range of social media platforms.
Did you know that Dr. Jaggs had a share in Key Largo?
No.
Should he have made that clear when the Health Minister was standing up admonishing that centre?
No, look, I mean, my understanding is that Dr. Jaggs has a share in a family trust, and that family trust is a very small shareholder in that particular facility. So from that perspective, I don't think he's got any sort of operational role to be able to be engaged in that. But look, I understand that Dr. Jaggs is engaged in some internal disputes inside a business in which his family trust has interests. That is before the courts, and I'll allow that process to play out.
His business partner is on that board, though. Like, he could have had some influence, so that, because I guess Labor is saying, like, we would have loved for Key Largo and the GP to sit down, talk with the Dar family. Yeah. If he was really, I guess, being a team player, wouldn't he get into his business partner's ear and say, hey, I need you to say, you guys need to sit down with this family?
Well, look, I don't have the details in relation to his relationship, business or otherwise, with that particular practice. Dr. Jaggs is a great representative for the people of Riverton and is an important member of my WA Labor team. And obviously, if he's in disputes with his business partners or his family trust arrangements, we'd love that to be resolved. So it's not burdening him and stopping him from doing what he does best, and that is represent the people of Riverton. He's a great advocate for that community.
Do you want to give us a final prediction for tomorrow night, number of seats?
Oh, look, I predict that tomorrow night the team with the most votes will be the winner. And how's that for a sporting analogy? No, look, I think what will happen tomorrow night is that the people of Western Australia will decide. They'll decide on who they trust to take this state forward. Is it WA Labor that's put a comprehensive plan, including our Made in WA plan, to bring manufacturing back to the heart of our economy, create more great local quality manufacturing jobs, create the jobs of the future, making sure that people have the skills they need through free TAFE to benefit from those jobs? Or the other chaotic and dysfunctional team that, quite frankly, haven't done the hard work. They haven't done the hard work to earn the trust and the votes of the people of Western Australia. But tomorrow we celebrate democracy, and we are so blessed in this country and in this state that we have a situation where we can let the people decide who will lead this state into the future. My team is united, we have the experience and we have the plan to take this state forward. Thank you very much, everyone. Shall I hold this up just one more time?
I can use the same way as Charlie says it when I show.